Horses that struggle with canter lead changes. I've seen a lot of dressage horses that are struggling with that this week, actually, and some race horses. So if your horse is struggling with canter lead changes, so changing canter leads, like flying changes in other words, and you've had the SI injected, the hocks, the stifle, and you're like, oh my God, it was short-lived. It would be short-lived because yes, by injecting the hock and the stifle, you are removing that pain on the loading phase, but it's going to be short-lived because we need to be looking at what actually happens when a horse changes lead. It is fundamentally a balance. They need to be fully balanced through their body and stable through their back and pelvic girdle. If they are not, then the canter lead usually becomes a problem. So the horse that I treated today is struggling with left to right canter lead, but fine on the right to left change. So imagine, close your eyes with me. I'm not going to close my eyes, but close your eyes and you're doing on the left canter, so you're cantering around, and then you want to start to change lead to the right. Now this mare started with just refusing to do it, and then the behavior got worse and worse and worse. And this is quite common where you keep pushing, right, because you want to improve it, and it's frustrating because you've had maybe your body workers or your vet be like, yeah, it's, by the way, this is nothing on vets, it's me sharing a case study. You're like, okay, this is not working. The horse is still not changing. And what happens is they start to anticipate the lead change and they start to show quite significant behavioral problems. Now the behavior actually isn't the problem because the behavior is the symptom. The behavior is the warning in how they communicate and telling us that there is a problem. So this mare started to really buck, nap, refuse flat out to not even want to do this change anymore. So what my suggestion was when I looked at this horse was, let me see her in walk and trot on the hard, and straight away, right? When I'm looking at the horse, I like to look at them in sections, so keep it simple, that's my motto, right? Look at the horse in sections, see what section looks blocked, what section isn't functioning properly based on how posture and form equals function, obviously anatomy, age of the horse, management, breed, like all of this also comes into play. But straight away in the walk and the trot, I noticed that this mare was bulging her rib cage to the right. So I said to the owner, okay, I understand the lead change, but what's she like when she changes rein? And she said the right rein is difficult. The right change from left to right in trot, the bend is difficult. So I said to her, right, this is why the canter lead is a problem, right? This is why there is an issue. We really have to make sure that this mare can bend through her rib cage properly before we start to push for the canter lead. So bulge rib cage to the right. The left pelvic girdle was compressed. The left hind, when it was coming through in flexion and extension, was restricted compared to the left hind, to the right hind. And then obviously the way horses are put together and the way they move in the trot, the diagonal left hind, right fore was very apparent. Hope you got your head around this. By the way, if I'm talking gobbledygoo and you're like, Nika, break this down, comment on this video below and let me know, because sometimes I'm in my head about it and I'm making sense, and I'm like a visual person, so I'm like seeing the patterns and I want to relay it back to you guys for education and support and sharing knowledge, and then I'm like, oh, I wonder if that even makes sense. So if it doesn't make sense, comment, let me know, and don't forget to give me a subscribe. A little bit of a cheesy little dance there. Okay, so we've got this movement mat pattern going on now. What do? This horse is being treated regularly with electroacupuncture. So the vet is looking at the mare constantly, which is great, and she's a performance vet. However, when I was looking at the mare just generally, so even just picking up her legs, you could tell the left hind was so tight in flexion, compared to the right, that I'm like, any wonder I'm seeing this struggle with bringing the left hind through. When I put my hands on her back, especially that late thoracic lumbar area, so where the saddle would sit, the back of the saddle, her whole behavior changed. She got like inverted her back, the muscles down either side of her back went like rock solid, like almost in spasm, right? And I'm like, that's not great either. We shouldn't be getting that. And it's a clear sign the mare's uncomfortable. After, by the way, in that situation, the worst thing I do, in my experience, is to put more pressure on. So I don't then think, right, you're tight through your back, let's do some chiropractic. Because in my opinion, A, the chiropractic won't be effective, but B, what's more important is the horse and how she responds. So she's a sensitive mare, and I'm listening to the owner and I'm like, right, I would rather we take these treatments slower and she gets to know me, the horse gets to know me, gets to build my trust, gets to feel the difference within her body herself. I would rather that than us focus on doing an adjustment, getting the perfect alignment, and then the mare doesn't want to be touched again. That's not my role, because A, that's uncomfortable and it's impractical, because we want to be there for the horses, and we want to make sure that the horses their bodies are working with us. The body, you're not working with the body if you're putting a lot of pressure on it and expecting a quick result. That's my side note. That's me like going off on a tangent. So I thought, you know what? Let's not adjust the back. Let's not do any chiropractic on the spine. Let's just go back to doing some fascia work. Let's release the fascia through the lumbar spine, through the rib cage, and then work my way into doing a couple of adjustments. And that is what I did. What was fascinating is before the treatment, I did flexion extension of both front legs, and you could visibly see the difference in the right fore to the left. After treatment, that right fore extension and flexion was so much better, like equal to the left. What's also fascinating is when I got my hands on the mare, I said, oh, does she like head tilt at all, or any restriction in the contact? And she was like, well, yeah, because, you know, she's so tight in her back that she's locking up through her pole. And I was like, okay, in my experience, unless she's got awful teeth, the pole is not the issue. It's the connections, the long muscles of the neck connecting into the base of the neck that are usually locked up, but also a really mobile joint, which is the most mobile joint in the horse's body, the CT junction. If that area is locked, and it's like a Pandora's box in there, by the way, it's like minefield of nerves and fascia and muscle connection. It's just like, it is like Pandora's box. So when you are finding issue in that area, woof, get ready for the rabbit hole of investigation. Get a good team. Work with a good team of people. Okay, so after doing the work through her atlas, axis, the neck, and the soft tissue on the right fore limb extension flexion was improved. So what do we do from here? And you've actually just reminded me that I gave the owner aftercare, but I actually need to give her more specific aftercare, so I'm going to send her a voice note after this. So what the worst thing we can do now is to go back to doing what we've always done, which is let's push for a flying change. No. The mare is weak with the left hind right fore diagonal. So the worst thing I want to be doing is doing flying changes with her. The best thing I want to be doing with her now is strengthening the hip flexor, strengthening her spinal stability, which means activation exercises before work, and specific, not leg, no leg stretching, the baited carrot stretches specific to what we've done today. And for this horse, it's all around that lumbosacral junction, the lumbar fascia. Those are the areas we want to be working on. Sorry, I'm just checking I'm in the right lane. Yeah. So another thing is we'll be doing neuroflying changes for at least 2 weeks. The goal is to improve that rib cage mobility, the function of the rib cage on the right. So ideally what we want to be doing is a shitload, or loads, excuse me, of flexion, extension, suppling exercises like serpentine work, loads of transitions, loads of mobilizing the rib cage. The rider, I really want to have more focus on the seat, her seat, moving the rib cage right and left. That's also super important. It's going to get over here. Don't worry, I'm hands-free. That's what we work on. Once we have more mobility through the rib cage left, and the rider can say, do you know what? I can move this horse equally left and right a lot easier. She's able to move her rib cage left and right. Then we can start to do the preparation for the canter. Canter, building up to the flying change. Whew! I think I need to learn to speak slower. If this was helpful, let me know. Give me some feedback, comment below. Oh God, one person commented on my video and saying, you shouldn't wear your hair like that. And I'm like, okay, that's really helpful. That's not the kind of comment I'm on about. But if you're gonna be that sad and comment that way, good luck to you. I'm on about practical horsey feedback. If you want some help with your horse specifically, or to understand what I'm saying, if I need to explain it better or differently, comment and let me know below. For now, enjoy the rest of your day and thank you for watching.